Now, the last time I ran in a Hoka carbon-plated race day shoe was way back, and it was actually in these, the Hoka Carbon Rocket. I really enjoyed the fit, feel and performance of this shoe, but since then, things have moved on in the running shoe industry and technology and cushioning has really moved on. So in this video, I'm going to be giving you the lowdown on Hoka's latest carbon plated speed machine, the Cielo X1, and then I'm going to be lacing them up and taking them out for their first run. Welcome back, folks, and thanks for tuning in to another video. I'm Lloyd Purvis and this is Run4Adventure. Now, it has been a while since the running of this year's fantastic arc of attrition. Sadly, I wasn't well enough to take my place on the start line. However, that did free me up to capture this incredible race in all its glory, and our 2024 Arc of Attrition race day video has just gone live on the channel over the weekend. It's always great to be part of this fantastic Cornish event, whether I'm running it or I'm just out there filming it. So what I've done is I've left a link in the description below to our race day video in case you guys want to check it out. So we are back with a Hoka running shoe today, and I've got to say, a rather good looking Hoka running shoe at that. Big fan of this colourway. I love the texture that Hoka have used on the fabric and the overall design of the shoe, and I'm super interested to find out if this performs as good as it looks, because if it does, it's going to be a great shoe to run in. But before we do that, let's give you a few stats about the new shoe, and I'm going to break down this construction in a bit more detail. First up, with the Cielo X1 being a carbon plated racer, we all know that it's going to be pretty expensive, and with them retailing in the UK for £250, that is definitely pretty expensive. Weight wise, my pair in a UK 9.5 weighs in at 260 grams, so also not the lightest race day shoe out there when you compare it against the likes of Nike's Vaporfly or ASIC's Metaspeed Sky. We've got a 7mm heel offset, so you get a stack height of 39mm at the heel and 32mm under the forefoot. Starting at the top, and Hoka have gone for this lightweight, breathable, knitted upper design. Obviously, with the shoe being a race day shoe, it is pretty stripped back. So we've got a very thin gusseted tongue inside that upper that has lots of perforations for increased airflow, but zero padding, so hopefully those laces sit nice and comfortable across the top of my foot when I pull them down nice and tight. Similar story in the heel, so very flexible, not a lot of structure going on there, but Hoka have worked in these two little areas of zonal padding around that ankle collar, just for a bit of added comfort. Moving down to this very interesting midsole design, and we've got a resilient two-layered Piba midsole setup. Housed inside is Hoka's winged carbon fibre plate, which we can actually see poking through the midsole there at the midfoot and under the forefoot. Because the Cielo X1 is designed for performance and speed on race day, Hoka have also worked in their centric speed rocker geometry, and that's to give you a nice smooth transition to toe off and efficient running over distance. And it's all finished off with a good helping of blown rubber on the outsole in all the high wear areas, just for a bit of increased grip and durability. So there you have it, Hoka's latest carbon plated racer, the Cielo X1. Now, with this shoe being built for the sole purpose of pushing hard and running fast on race day, I really wanted to make sure I tested it out thoroughly on today's run. Unfortunately, I couldn't find a local road race down here in Cornwall at the moment, so we are going to go for the next best thing, and I'm heading over to my local park run. So I'm off to get changed, and we'll see you guys on the warm-up.
I lost it all the other day. Floating with my head down. Don't know if I'm here to stay. Took pride in a fleeting dream. If I guide there's ever across here, they were twined into little knots.
Okay, so that is a warm-up done. We've done about 2.5 miles. I always forget how early park run is. Well, it's not early, but it's early for me to be running. First impressions of the shoe is it's a unisex shoe and it does size up a little bit small. I went with my standard UK 9.5 and I'm quite close to the end on my longer foot. I think if I was going for sort of half marathon distance in the shoe, I would definitely want to go up half a size. Also, it's got quite an unusual sort of elasticated, gusseted tongue, which when I first put the shoe on, is a little bit awkward. You do have to make sure you've got that tongue laying nice and flat in the shoe, or else it all gathers up and that could definitely cause you some issues. And the laces, well, the laces really lock down once you've got them pulled down tight. They are definitely not going to work loose, but we've got about 10 minutes to go before the start of Parkrun. So we're going to finish off the warm-up and then we're going to get on the start line. So we like to see Mr. Jukes fly in the merchandise.
Yeah.
Come on.
Go! Have a great run, everyone! Have a good run, Lloyd!
Okay, so we are off on Penrose Parkrun. We're not going to get carried away today. It's going to be a good test for the shoe, but running fast early in the morning doesn't suit my body even with a warm-up. And we got a big race coming up next weekend, so we don't want any accidents now. So we'll push along, see how the old legs feel. We'll take it from there. Thank you, Marshall. Okay, so we just rounded the turning point. We are heading back. Well done, guys. So, when I first put the Cielo X1 on my feet at home, I wasn't sure how comfortable the upper would be, but now I'm running it, it feels good. It feels really comfy. Good lockdown around the midfoot, good holding the heel. Hold on, boys. Yeah, so really comfy actually, a lot more comfortable than I was expecting. So we went through the first half at about 6:20-minute miling, and this double layered Piba midsole feels comfy, returning lots of energy, and we've obviously got that winged carbon plate. So yeah, it feels pretty responsive. Feels like it's driving me forward, but I'm gonna stop talking, try and get some oxygen and get to that finish line. Well done. Well done, mate. Guys, here we are, finishing shoot. We've done it. Woo. Cheers, Marshalls. Thank you. Not ideal. Camera malfunction towards the finish line, so I had to stop, pull the battery out, put it back in and carry recording. I don't know. Modern technology, eh? So we bumped into this man at the start line. He did London. How did it go?
Very well, thank you.
Go on, tell him your time,
2:59:30.
2:59:30, and age, if you don't mind?
57.
57, first time at London, first time sub 3. High five that, mate, come on. Well done, fella.
Cheers.
Okay, so that is Parkrun done, and I've done a quick cool down. First impressions on the shoe, I felt comfortable over the distance. Also really happy with how my body and the legs felt. There's lots of positives about the new Hoka carbon plate race shoe. There's a few things I'm not sure about as well. So let's get back to the studio and we'll wrap the video up with a quick conclusion. Okay, we are back from a very successful morning running Parkrun in the new Cielo X1. In total, I ended up doing 11.2 miles. So we started off with a nice sort of 3 mile-ish steady warm-up. I definitely need a warm-up when I'm going to be pushing pace in the morning. Then obviously we did park running the shoes, and then we did a nice steady long cool down around the beautiful grounds of Penrose Park. If you're ever down in Cornwall, you're looking for a park run to run, or you just want somewhere to go for a nice training run, or even a lovely walk with the family, then I would definitely recommend Penrose Park because it really is a beautiful place. So let's go through all the positives from today's first run in the Cielo X1 first. Like I mentioned earlier, when I tried these shoes on indoors, I wasn't sure how comfortable this stripped back upper was going to be. The tongue design is very thin and it doesn't have any padding, but it was actually really comfortable out on the run. So the laces sat nice and comfortably across the top of my foot, no issues there. These little pods of padding worked into the ankle collar, seemed to do their job really well, so the heel was comfortable and it felt really secure. The design of these flat laces is pretty interesting. Now, I know it's only a pair of laces, but it feels like they've got some sort of coating on them. So they are quite stiff, quite rigid, and they're quite hard to pull through those lace eyelets. The good thing about that is once you've got those laces pulled down nice and tight and you're locked into the midfoot of this shoe, those laces don't budge. So I had a really good lockdown from the upper, and I think a lot of that comes from the laces, but the good thing is they stayed locked down for the duration of the run. I mentioned it while we were running the warm-up that I think they do size a little bit small, like a lot of unisex running shoes do. I still had a little bit of length in the toe, but I was pretty close to the end of the shoe on my longer right foot. I didn't have any toe issues or any discomfort over the 11.2 mile run, but if I was choosing to use the Cielo X1 for say marathon distance, I think I would go up half a size to a UK 10 just to give me that little bit more length to allow for sort of foot expansion over that 26.2 mile distance. But all in all, upper fit and performance was really good. The midsole setup also seemed to work well, so having these 2 layers of high energy returning bouncy PEBA foam with that winged carbon fibre plate in the centre seemed to give me lots of propulsion while maintaining a good level of comfort underfoot, and at the end of the run my legs felt nice and fresh. So for the warm-up we were just bouncing along nice and steady about 8 to 8:30 minute miling, and again very comfortable underfoot, felt like I could run at that pace all day. But then when I did up the pace for the 5k of Parkrun, where we were sort of ticking along at 6:10 to 6:20 minute miling, they did feel very lively, felt like it was giving me lots of energy return, but we've also got that efficient rocker geometry, so really felt like the shoes were driving me forward. So lots of positives for the Cielo X1 out there on its first run. However, there are a few things that I'm not fully convinced by, and I think for a carbon plated race day shoe, 260 grams is quite heavy. It's actually almost the identical weight to the New Balance Fuel Cell Elite V4s that we tested out a few weeks ago, and I actually said exactly the same about that shoe. Now, don't get me wrong, you know, you're not running along in the shoes thinking they're really heavy, but because it is a performance driven race day shoe, I think, you know, 20 or 30 grams off that weight, bringing the shoes overall weight down to sort of 240, 230 grams would be a weight that suits this type of shoe a bit better. And the only other thing isn't really an issue, it's just a bit of a faff. So whenever I put the shoe on, I did mention it earlier that this gusseted elasticated tongue seemed to get all sort of puckered up and wasn't sitting nice and flat around my midfoot. So it did take me a few seconds to work all the ridges out and to make sure that tongue is sitting flat before I pulled those laces down tight. Now, I know it's not the end of the world, but like I said, I did find it a little bit annoying, and if you didn't take the time to get those ridges out, I think they could lead to some irritation problems around your midfoot, and we definitely don't want those. So wrapping up, and I had a pretty good first run in Hoka's latest Go Faster carbon plated running shoe. This midsole setup felt nice and comfy over those slower tempos, but then when I did push on and up the pace in Parkrun, kind of sprung to life and gave me good levels of performance. Upper, way more comfortable than I expected, and it felt secure around my midfoot, and I just felt really well locked into the shoe throughout the run. I don't think I'd have an issue running, say, marathon distance in a pair of these, especially at my sort of current stage of fitness. I think if I was in prime marathon running condition, that I might opt for something a bit lighter, say like a Nike Vaporfly. But if you were targeting a marathon time of around 3 hours 20 to 4.5 hours, I think these would actually do that job really well. So there you have it, folks, my initial thoughts after my first run in the new Cielo X1 from Hoka. Really hope you enjoyed it, really hope you found it helpful, and it was really nice to get some speed through my legs again, and I managed to cross the finish line at Parkrun in 20 minutes and 2 seconds. However, like I mentioned, I did have to stop, take the battery out and put it back in the GoPro because it froze on me and I wanted to capture the ending. So I think I'd have probably gone through in 19 minutes 30 seconds. So, you know, pretty happy with that performance because my legs felt good at the end and I definitely felt like I could push on a lot quicker. If you got any questions about the Cielo X1, please feel free to get those in the comments below and we'll try and get back to you as soon as possible. But for now, guys, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe if you haven't already, because it is a big help to the channel. And we've actually just hit a massive milestone at Run4Adventure with 50,000 subscribers. So we got to say a massive thank you to every one of you for supporting and watching and getting involved with the channel over the years. You know, it really is appreciated by myself and by Liga. But again, we'll be back on the channel very soon with some more exciting running content. And as always, stay safe and keep on running. And the overall design of the shoe, and I'm super interested to find out whether it performs. And it's all finished off with a good helping of blown rubber on that outsole in all the high wear area. However, if I was in sort of prime marathon running condition, I might go for something a little bit lighter, say like a Nike Vaporfly, whatever that is.